And we're live. What's happening, everybody? It's Sunday night. Woo-wee! Oh, who we got in the house here? We got a lot of people in the house. Wow. Oh, jeez. Okay. Sad winnings raging. What's happening, man? Acceleration rules. Born gearhead. Oh, me too, bro. Um, Dickie Farley, Mark Sauvé, Mexican Spec. What's happening, brother, man? Does nothing special. Um, KJ Kylie, what's happening? Mopar Man, uh, App Rules. Seeing some new faces in here. Joker. Oh, Sindriatolation. Trying to build a slant LS1. Go for it. Danny Boyd. Sweaty Fat Guy. What's happening, man? Yo. Anthony Perna. Oh, we got, okay, Joe Kermachi. Yes. Is the beer garden still open? Yes, the beer garden's always open. Um, I used to love the beer garden. We used to play. There was a place on Staten Island called Kilmeyer's that had a beer garden. I don't drink anymore. I haven't had a beer probably in 2 or 3 years even. But yeah, I used to. That was a great night out at the beer garden. Um, what the hell was the name of the band? They had a band. It was a couple of old guys with like one of them had like a tuba. The Happy Tones. The Happy Tones used to play there. Um, so let's see. Um, Ford CD Burlock. Did you get the links to the video I sent? I don't get anything, man. I don't get anything. I don't look at emails. I don't look at messages. I have no idea what goes on in there. And Kathy Bananas is forbidden to tell me what goes on in there because I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Harry Lister, rest in peace to everyone who died in 2025. Yes. Bye. Rest in peace. Where did that come from? Rest everybody who died in 2025. Okay. Raymond Cabal, what's happening? Comment section of the last video. No, so what was it about? Let me know, and I could probably go back and find out. Henry Lister saying the list is long. Yes, many people passed in 2025. Should NASCAR go hybrid? I mean, NASCAR is in my mind, NASCAR is supposed to reflect what's being produced. So if the majority of cars out there are hybrid, then yeah, in my mind, NASCAR should be hybrid. And actually, I said the same thing about drag racing. Well, who even pays attention to class racing anymore, right? But I mean, stock eliminated to super stock, yeah. If hybrids is what the manufacturers are selling, then it should be representative in those types of racing. Clayton's Toolbox. Any tips to make a turbo hydro 350 transmission survive drag racing? No, man. I really don't know those transmissions at all. I mean, I've gone through them, but just regular stock. I have no idea how to beef them up. Territory. It's Tony. Is Jeff joining Ducky in the ghosting? No, Jeff is busy. Jeff runs a huge business. Jeff is he's all over the country. Well, actually, he's all over the world. He runs a huge business, and this if this isn't like pressing to him, he's not going to be there. He knows that we have nothing to do with this car until all the parts get there. So that's what we're at. Parts have been ordered. He's paid for them. Everything is good as far as that goes. He bought nitro. He bought alcohol. He bought a fire suit. He bought, you name it. He's been buying. He's been spending the money on the car, but he's not currently around because he's busy taking care of his. Oh, look, there he is. Okay, there he is. Jeff, I'm here waiting for a clutch. Yes, I know, Jeff. We're all waiting for a clutch. I knew this was going to happen, Jeff. I knew this was going to happen. I had the same. I told you it was the same exact thing that happened with that Hemi GTX. You know, I was like, oh, let's just change the valve cover gaskets and give it a tune-up. You know, a year and a half later. It makes for good background in you know, so it makes for good shop art. Oh, well, Molly wants to play frisbee. No, Molly. Let's see. Jeff was saying patience is a virtue. Jeff, in case you haven't noticed, you and I are pretty old. It's like the days of patience are rapidly, you know, disappearing in the mirror. Jeff, let's do something with that Hemi. I have to do something very Mopar. I haven't done anything very Mopar in a while. Let's do something with your Hemi Cuda. He has a Jeff has a really nice 71 Hemi Cuda convertible clone. Let's do something with that car, man. What do you think? Acceleration rules. Imagine racing back in the day with drum brakes. Imagine what? Some of us still do it. No problem. Slowed many 130 mile an hour car down with drum brakes. No problem. Wes 7411. Hey Tony. Hey Wes. I'm helping my buddy get his 82 Imperial running, and it's been sitting for 25 years. What advice would you give me for getting it in good shape? Oh, wait, hang on. Okay, 82 Imperial. Fuel system. All your problems are going to be in the fuel system. Like not in the engine is going to be bad. I bet you, in fact, if you took that engine apart, you'd find that everything still has oil on it, right? All your issues are going to be in the fuel system. So drop the tank, blow through the lines, check the lines, of course. You're going to have to go through the carburetor. There's no question about that. Is that 82? Is that injected? Because if that's injected, that might be a problem. But yeah, all your issues are going to be in the fuel system, reviving that car. Jeff is saying no on the CUDA. Okay. Yeah, Mexican specs good. Wes, first get the headlight covers working. The rest will work itself out. They didn't work when they were new. It still has the EFI. Yeah. Okay. See, that system was bad to begin with. If I were you, right? I would just convert it to a carburetor. It's a 318, right? Just pick up an Edelbrock Performer for a 318 and put an Edelbrock carburetor on there, and just a simple electric pump. Don't go crazy with it. I would not mess with that fuel injection system. Okay, I'm scrolling back up here. Yeah, Jeff, he's happy the sun has finally shown his face for a couple of. It's supposed to be nice here for the next few days. Next week, it's supposed to be in the high 50s and the 60s. So yes, I'm very excited about that. Mexican spec. We lost a member of our pack last night. She wouldn't eat yesterday and passed on. Oh, geez, I'm sorry, bro. It was fast. Listen, that's a blessing, you know, because I've had them linger for very long periods of time. Yeah, geez, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Todd Denio. I'm trying to work out a deal on a car I want Found a rust-free 67 AMC Marlin. Okay, I would. Is it complete? Because any parts you need for that thing would be, well, mechanical parts are pretty easy to come by, but I would make sure things that all of its trim, you know what I mean, all of the hard to find stuff, all the interior doodads and whatnot, because that's a hard car to find for. But yes, it's a cool car. Let's see. Territory, Tony, I have a set of wheel cylinders for a rare 59 Land Rover. Can't find replacement and thinking of turning oversized pistons. What material do you think I could use to make new ones? Have them bored to the next largest size that you can actually get. You're gonna have to do your homework as far as like what's gonna fit. But I'm sure you can have a machine shop overbore them to a more common size. But I couldn't tell you what that size would be. You're gonna have to do some homework on that. Zero's in the house. What's happening, Zero? Let's see. Anthony Pern, my collector bolts keep vibrating loose. Do you know how a trick to stop it? I mean, you know, are you using crush washers and like nylocks? That's what I would do. I can't think of anything else. Anthony Barber, Tony, 1988 Mustang Coupe, 5 liters, stock 308 versus 373 gear, stock 5-speed. I'm looking for low 14s in the quarter. I was getting mid 13s in the quarter with the 308s. The 373, which street tires becomes a bitch to launch. That's the problem with those things, because you got a 308 first gear in the T5. So your torque multiplication, it's got a lot of torque multiplication, and launching them is hard on street tires. I mean, 373s, if you're going to put a sticky tire on there, like a race type of tire, but if it's like regular street rubber, that sort of thing, I would stick with the 308 to make it work. I ran 1343 with the 308 gear. Fun with cars. That's a good point. Yes, weld the bolts to the flanges. Scoop, don't nylocks melt? Not there. I mean, I wouldn't use them like on like, let's say, on the cylinder head, you know, to hold the flange to the head. I wouldn't use them there, but on the collector underneath the car, yeah, they're not going to get hot enough to melt. So, yeah, Anthony, I don't think you'll have any problem with nylocks on the collector flanges, unless you've got an exhaust system that runs extremely hot. You know what I mean? Like do the headers plug into catalytic converters? Because if they don't, the heat won't be a problem. Let's see. Killbot 999. What can you tell us about adding or enlarging oil ports for bearing surfaces inside an engine? It depends on what engine you're working with. Some have extremely generous oil holes. The Chrysler products that I deal with all have what would be considered by General Motors or Ford standards oversized. Like they're race size Chevy oil passages in a stock Chrysler. The only thing I can tell you is if you do enlarge, make sure you chamfer. You know, give it a nice like beveled surface where you know, don't go too far because you don't want to get oil under the bearing. But it just depends on what you're working with. You need to go with the norm of what it is that you work with. So if it's a small block Ford and people normally increase the oil passages to X size, well, that's what you want to do. There's no one size fits all. Wes, how can you tell the difference between an exhaust leak and a lifter tick? Exhaust leak will only leak as you're accelerating. If you pull your foot off the gas, see the lifter tick is rotational, right? So let's say the engine's rotating at 2,000 RPM and you're in tick, 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 tick. Well, if you back off on the gas slightly, the engine is still rotating. But if as soon as you back off the gas, you hear the ticking go away, you know it's an exhaust noise. Kenny Gerald, are the big oil holes an attempt to make up for the center sump oil pans on the cars? One thing really has nothing to do with the other. Chrysler is just very generous, always has been with its oiling systems. The location of the sump has nothing to do with it. Actually, if anything, the larger oil passages would aggravate the situation with the center sump if you stop and you think about it. But no, Chrysler engineers just spec very large oil passages. And the center sump pan only applies to cars, not to trucks. Let's see. Mato Fedora, is a 2002 Monte Carlo good track car? Because I've only seen Monte Carlos as drag cars. I don't know. I would imagine it's kind of, you're talking about like for a handling thing, like for an autocross, like handling type of car, because that's really not my forte at all. But I would think those cars would be relatively top heavy for that sort of thing. I mean, imagine if you slammed it, it would be like anything else. I don't know. You'd have to, maybe somebody in here is more familiar with that body style and handling stuff. But like I'm a straight liner. Like I'm like a one trick pony. Venom Pools 2020. So Jacob, have you worked on a 96 GMC 4? Because I'm having a locked motor and I can't get it to unlock. Can you tell me where to start besides the battery in the store? The engine is locked up? Okay, I've done several videos on freeing stuck engines, including one that I did not too long ago. This year, where we had a frozen 383. So I've done a few videos on freeing stuck engines without damaging parts. So give a search. Mexican spec is saying cars don't need to turn, just go straight fast. I'm the only performance aspect I'm concerned with a car is how fast it will go from the dig. Okay, from 0 to the 8th mile, right? That's it. Beyond that, I'm a right lane driver. I slow down for stuff. I get people tailgating me all the time. I'm just not a speed guy. You know what I mean? So because I'm not a speed guy, I don't really I don't understand the whole thing of it just doesn't do it for me. So to me, for a performance car, I only care about how it's going to accelerate from 0 to the 8th mile or 0 to the quarter mile, and everything else is like it's just not part of my. I just don't care. So you can't really get involved in things you don't care about. You can't study and learn and retain knowledge about things you don't care about. So I just don't know anything about it. I'm not saying it's bad, and lots of people love it. It just doesn't do anything for me. Scoop, you always catch them at the next light anyway. Okay, Mexican spec, excellent. Merry Christmas. Dalton Adams, would it be worth putting a high horsepower engine in a 73 Fury? I mean, you could. That's a big ass car, bro. That's a big, heavy car. So I would put a big engine in there. So that's you know, yeah. Listen, it's a fun car. They'll be fun car. If yes, it would be worth it if that's what you want to do. Territory. Have you heard the Valero refinery in California is leaving California? Is willing to lose 1 billion and then to stay another year in California. It's like, get me out of here. Um, Auto industry is down and being kicked by news. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know. California's in a lot of trouble. Some of California's in a lot of trouble. Some of it is completely unaffected by all of this nonsense. But yeah, I imagine your oil prices are going to, fuel prices are going to skyrocket. Um, Clayton's Toolbox. I like your channel because you show how we can work with a tight budget, real hot rodding. If so my personal thing, if like in a perfect world, okay, there would be no speed parts, there would be no hot rod parts. You would have to modify and create things yourself to go fast, like they did originally. Like, you go back to the earliest days of hot rodding. There was no, you wanted a cam, you ground the damn thing yourself. You wanted an intake manifold, you figured out some way to make an intake manifold yourself. And if I had my way, the whole aftermarket industry would just disappear and we would all be left to our own devices. And it would be such a more satisfying way to build cars and have fun with them. Um, let's see. Yeah, Terry, it's time to start bullying fuel from Arizona. Yeah. Dr. Art's in the house. What's happening, Dr. Art? So he just posted a video today, I think it was, on his El Caminos. Um, what's on the Ram Chargers really made some intake manifold contraptions with heavy hose. Well, only one that actually went into service. I'm sure they played around with all kinds of things in the lab. But on the high and mighty, it had what became the tunnel ram manifold, where they built a box and put two Carter AFBs on top of it, an aluminum box, and then joined it with 8 individual runners made out of radiator hose, which is literally, the forerunner of the tunnel ram. But at the time, remember, the Chrysler engineers were playing with the cross ramps, with the long ram setups. So it's sonic tuning with the pulses as they run back and forth through the intake runner. So that was the idea behind the tunnel ram that ended up on the High and Mighty. And then just a few years later, the tunnel ram became the standard for, ultimate carbureted performance. Oh, that's good coffee, damn it. Um, Richard Benelli, Tony, did you know anything about the speed shop in Valley Stream, New York on Merrick Road? No, I don't. Uh, Michael Phillip, silver to top $70 this week. I'm thinking it'll probably touch 70, but I'm hoping for a pullback, man. I want to see 50. I don't think we're going to get it, but I want to see 50, 55 like that, and I'll go load up. But yeah, probably touch 70, a little over 70. You may see it in the next 24 hours or so. And then it should pull back to the mid 65s, just kind of normal. I think it's going to trade in a range until after the holidays, and then we'll see what happens. Um, let's take a quick check. Let's see what we got currently. Um, let's see. Okay, currently Gold is up there. Gold is at $4,368, up 14.50. That's a 0.33% gain. So, oh geez, wow. Silver is at 68.07. 68.07. Up 78 cents. That's 1.16%. Woof. Okay. Silver guy's having a good night tonight. I don't think it's going to last though. The smackdown's going to happen. Acceleration of silver is never going down. You've missed your opportunity. Dude, I started stacking when it was like $4 an ounce. There was no problem. Let's see. I'm just scrolling back up here. No, this is not financial advice. I never give financial advice. Okay, I'm just scrolling back here. Okay, catch it to this one. Chris Freeman, you should have invested in computer memory. It's gone up 400% in the last 3 months. No, I don't believe in paper. I don't believe in paper. I don't believe in digits. It's that simple. I believe in this. That's it. That's the only thing I believe in. Done. Vampire Bear. Sad fact is, higher gold goes, the less the dollar is worth. Well, you have that backwards, Vampire Bear. It's not that the dollar is worth less because gold goes higher. Gold goes higher because the dollar is worth less. One thing has, you see, they have an inverse relationship to each other. So gold is the same gold that's always been for all of history. Okay, but the dollar is becoming more numerous. So the number of ounces of gold versus the number of digits of dollars is out of whack. And so it's not that gold is worth any more. Gold is the same. The dollar value is going down, and it shows up as higher commodity prices. Clayton's Toolbox. If you were 10 years younger and worried about retirement, what would you do? That's what I did. You're asking me what I do. It's what I did. Clayton, I don't know, man. It depends on your appetite for risk. I don't know, man. I don't know. But what I did was I loaded up on metals. Because it was obvious the direction that the dollar was going. They weren't going to start producing less dollars. The debt wasn't going to go down. None of that was going to happen. So it only means that eventually, at some point, the number of the price of metals is going to have to go higher just by virtue of the fact that there are so many dollars in circulation. So if you use the example of the Weimar Republic, the hyperinflation in the Weimar Republic, in Germany, 1922, 1923, gold was 419 marks per ounce in January 1922. February 13 months. Yeah, February 1923, the exchange rate was 1 quadrillion marks per ounce of gold. See what I'm saying? So right now we're in that situation. We're in the beginning of a hyperinflationary situation. So anything that gets you away from the dollar, and anything that gets you away from things that have counterparty risk. So counterparty risk is well, I it's too much to get into right now. But that's what I would do if I was worried about retirement. Um, let's see. Yes, Rob Reiner is still dead. Last I checked, yes. Um, Joker, Tony, how far does the phrase ring true in regards to the current situation? Prior results do not guarantee a future outcome. I use a different I use a different phrase for that, right? History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. So, all right, where were we now? Uh, Vampire used to live in Maryville, Tennessee. That's a nice area up by Oak Ridge. TN, been to Nashville a lot. I'm just south of Nashville. I love this place. Been here for 23 years now. I don't know. I'm about to start my 8th year on YouTube. 2026 is going to mark our 8th year doing this, which is like ridiculous. I can't believe it's been 8 years. Thank you guys so much. Um, Otto Frogman, Tony, I love your stuff, but 4% annual inflation is not more of a republic. Hyperinflation, geez, get a grip. No, you listen to me, right? The markets are everything is manipulated. Everything is manipulated. You have to look at the number of dollars that are in circulation and the number of dollars that are currently going into circulation, right? And they each have to be paid back. The dollar, every unit of currency that we call a dollar that's produced in the current system represents debt. It takes like $9 to pay back $1 of debt. So you're confusing, let's say the numbers that they use for inflation, which takes out food and energy and housing and all the things that go up every day that you need to survive. Yeah, take those things out of the equation, and it's like a 4% inflation. It's nonsense. It's bullshit. Don't be swayed by that. Look at the number of dollars that are in circulation and how many more are being put into circulation, and that's the answer. And what happens is, I forget who uses this phrase. Andy Scheckman uses this phrase a lot. It's as far as the march towards hyperinflation. It's a little by a little, and then a little, and a little, and a little, and a little, and then a lot, and all at once. And that's how it happens, right? A little, 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 and that's where right now it's adding, and then boom, it goes berserk. So don't confuse the inflation numbers, which are utter nonsense, with the reality of. So that 4% inflation does not take into account things like 10 years ago when you needed a tail light, let's say for your Honda, it was $2 at the parts store, okay, the bulb. And today, when you need that same tail light for the same car, it's a dealer item, and it's going to cost you $300 or $400, and it has to be programmed in, right, because it has all kinds of stuff. So take all of those things into consideration, aren't shown in the inflation numbers. Um, Danny Boyd says that cats cannot abide Bob Ross, and dude, I totally agree. Um, let's see. Um, Acceleration rules. Silver is used in solar panels, EV batteries, computer boards, and many other manufacturing processes. It's used a lot in the medical industry. Bandages, because silver's got these incredibly antimicrobial um, qualities. It's used in so many different things. But it also has a history as money. It has a monetary history of money. And what a lot of people don't understand, a lot of people don't know, and it goes right over people's heads. People are like, oh, we're off the gold standard. Okay, the US dollar, the United States dollar, as defined in the Constitution, and it's never been changed, the US dollar is defined as 1 ounce, 1 troy ounce of silver, not gold. There's an exchange rate. At the time, it was 20 ounces of silver, 16 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. That was the exchange rate. But the dollar is actually based on silver. Obviously, now that changed. The Civil War changed it, and then the Federal Reserve Act changed, or the Incorporation Act, 1871 changed it, and then the Federal Reserve changed it, and then Roosevelt changed it in 33. All things happened, right, to take us away from that. But to this day, still, the dollar is defined as 1 ounce of silver. And that is where your silver eagles come in, because the Bullion Coin Act of the Bullion Coin Act of 1985 or 1986, Reagan signed it, said that the Treasury Department had to abide by the Constitution and produce dollar coins. And that's where the Silver Eagle program came from, the Bullion Coin Act of 1986, I think it was. Look into it. And it's actually, that's constitutional money. Also, a purchase is made at the face value, according to the Bullion Coin Act. Purchases made at the face value of either a silver eagle or a gold eagle, and now platinum eagles also, are exempt from taxation. It's right there in the law. If you go and you find it, right? They're exempt from taxation. So let's just say, for example, I want to buy your $1,000 car and I want to give you a $1 silver eagle coin for it. Well, if you lower the price to $1 and I exchange it, there's that is a legal transaction and is completely tax exempt. So a lot of people don't know about this stuff. Um, Joe Camucci, it is defined through grains of silver. Yes, you're right. No, it doesn't. How does that equal a fiat currency? Um, Chase Berry, our late grandpa's VW tunnel buggy, 1960s, has a lot of crankcase pressure. Any idea to free piston rings or things to check if they bring back compression power? No, I honestly, once those rings get corroded into the pistons, there is nothing that you're going to do to free them up inside the engine. It's just the way it is. And it's such a simple motor to pop the heads off of. Take the heads off, take the pistons off. You could soak them. Soaking them doesn't really. I use heat. I use heat to free rings like that. Use a MAP gas torch. Chuck the piston up in a vise. Heat the rings. Heat. Get it crazy hot, and then get a pick in there, and then just tap. Find the gap and then just tap. And keep tapping and keep heating and tapping and heating and tapping and heating, and you'll free the ring. And at that point, you can free the ring lanes if you don't just buy new pistons. But yeah, if you got a lot of crankcase pressure, it just means that the rings are stuck in the pistons, and the longer they sit, the more stuck they get. Good evening, Josh. Good to have you in the house. Um, Kenny Gerald, it's all supply and demand. Gold supply goes up relatively slowly. Dollars, they create new supply all the time, digitally. It's hard to create a new gold supply. Yes. If you were to take all of the gold mined, if you were to take all of the gold ever mined in all of history and divide it among the current global population, everybody would get 7/10 of an ounce. That's all of the gold ever mined in all of history. 7/10 of 1 ounce. It gets distributed among the total global population, the current global population. Now think about how many tons and tons and tons are held by banks and churches and all sorts of other stuff. And now how much is actually available? What, half a gram? You know what I mean? How much is actually available to the average person if you were to divide it equally among the population? Sam 455, kerosene or diesel in the oil before an oil change won't help this with stuck rings. The longer it sits, the more that the oxidation of the piston envelops the ring. And so see, kerosene and oil will break down carbon. It'll clean up dirt, right? Congealed oil and stuff like that. It'll get in there and do it. But when an engine sits for a long period of time, what will happen is the piston oxidizes into the ring and around the ring, and the kerosene and the diesel does not break down the oxidation. It'll break down other petroleum-based things. It might stick it, but not the oxidation that comes from the piston degrading. So now you can pour shit in there till the cows come home, and it's not going to free it up. Oscar Gonzalez, I read the In-N-Out in Murfreesboro has extremely long lines. In-N-Out crowdsourced a wait time app. I can attest to this. Okay, I went to so they opened last week, and the road they're on a main road, Medical Center Parkway, right? They're on a main road, and they literally had to revamp all of the traffic in that area to accommodate the In-N-Out burger. They've had lines that literally go for, I mean, it's ridiculous. The 4, 5, 6 hour waits when they first opened, and people were sticking with it. It was crazy. So night before last, it was no 3 nights ago, it was monsooning. It was coming down. It was like the end of the world out there. And it was about 9 o'clock. And I says, yes, I can probably get In-N-Out burger right now. So that's what I did. I jumped in the car. I couldn't go more than like 20 miles an hour, even with the wipers going like this, because it was pouring. It was crazy. I get there, and guess what? The parking lot is full. There's people waiting outside. But I got in there. I got 2 double doubles and a protein style double for Kathy and some fries. It was okay. It was okay. But yeah, it was crazy. They had at least 40 people. I couldn't count. They had too many people. They had at least 40 people working behind the counter. It was bedlam. It was insane. I've never seen anything quite like it. I got a big kick out of it. So how was it? Bun was good. Burger was good. I'm not crazy about the sauce. I would get it again, but I would get it just with ketchup. And probably, I think the burger just naked. Okay, just a double cheeseburger. Double burger, double cheese, and just with ketchup, I think would be pretty damn good. For it's as good a basic burger as you're going to get. I wasn't crazy about what I got, but I'm not really familiar with. That was my first time. I'm not familiar with In-N-Out culture. That was my first time. So I would give it a solid. I'm going to say it was a solid 8 out of 10. With like, well, let's say a Big Mac, which is inedible to me, at like a 1. Okay, I would say In-N-Out was probably a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Otto Frogman, don't know why I commented on hyperinflation as I have been complaining lately about conservative politics and economics pushing aside car talk here on your site. First off, I don't. There is no. I'm neither conservative nor liberal. I'm as centric as you could possibly get. To me, both sides are made up of nothing but criminals and liars. So I have no right. Socially, I'm very liberal. Monetarily, I'm extremely conservative. So it's a little bit of both, right? So it's not like that. And as far as talking about hyperinflation, well, you know what, bro? That affects all of us. Everything that happens economically affects all of us. It's that simple. So yeah, we need to talk about that. It's at least as far as I'm concerned. Um, we try to keep Wednesday night, the show I do with Dr. Art. We try to keep that car only. But on Sunday, we talk about everything here because it's just this is my chance to hang out with you guys and just bullshit about this, that, and the other thing. So Dean Stevenson, you could have been in and out, but no one told you were on no was on Murfreesboro, but you stayed anyway. Yes, I don't know what you said, Dean. I don't know what that means, but I'm good with that. Uh, um, War goes, Tony, your man Cash Patel turned out well as soon as he got into office. Dude, investigations take time. You know, you got to understand something, right? You drop this guy into this. I know his motivations are sincere. Okay, um, you you drop somebody into this long running cesspool, and now things have to be investigated, and all of the T's have to be crossed, and all of the I's have to be dotted. That takes time. You don't do that in an afternoon. So the silence coming from that end of things, I think, is for a reason. I think it's because this takes time. You know, everybody's very impatient, and I understand being impatient. I get it, but investigations and all of the stuff that they have to go through to actually get convictions on stuff takes a very long time, and that applies to things like the list that everybody's like very patient. I'm very impatient. Oh, where's the list? Where's the list? Where's the list? And all this nonsense going back and forth about the list. If you're actually going to try to um, convict and have it stick, it takes time. These things take time. So I'm patient. You know, let's see what happens. KJ Kylie, Tony, why can't they make chrome spray paint to actually look like chrome? Actually, I have some. I forgot who makes it. I have some on the shelf at the shop that I've used, and it actually does look like chrome. It's really not bad. If you spray it on, it's a little cloudy and stuff like that. But if you wet sand it, it comes up as it looks just like chrome. I got I can't remember who makes it, but I got a can of it on the shelf at the shop. War Ghost, you're absolutely right. Nothing in government, especially is fast, but that doesn't explain why he allowed a set of files to be released with more black than white. Have you ever heard of juries? Have you ever heard about things like juries and how yeah, you know what I'm saying? You can't. There's a lot of stuff you can't put out in the public. There's a lot of information that can't be put out into the public because it'll tarnish. You can't do it. You have to redact these things. Tainting the jury. I mean, has that not occurred to anybody with this whole thing? Um, I'm just scrolling back up here. Oh, Watando wants to know where In and Out is in Murfreesboro. It's on Medical Center Parkway, um, right next to the coast of what used to be Whataburger. Um, uh, Joe Camachi, Carl Camachi. I think it's gone too far. Cash Patel and Dan Mangino realize that families are at risk of life and death. Um, I don't think so. I don't think it's the case. I honestly don't think that that's the case. I think that these people, these aren't dummies, and all of the contingencies were probably taken care of well in advance. I'm sure they've got around the clock ultra security. Um, Self do. As far as I'm concerned, we don't have an auto industry. We have these technocracies that are pushing bot vehicles that control U.S. that control us. Bring back the '65 Plymouth Valiant. Self do. I agree completely. Um, Tim Burns should all watch Casey the car guy. He knows what I know. He's he's more right than wrong. You won't get any argument from me. He's more right than wrong. um, oh, Zero. Yes, thank you. Zero is urging you all to hit the like button and thanking you in advance. Thank you, Zero. Yeah, the like button actually helps. It helps the channel. It just shows that there's engagement, that you guys approve of what we're doing. Actually, even the thumbs down works too because it just shows engagement. And that's all. All the YouTube bots want is engagement. So yeah, love us, hate us, either way, engage. Thank you. Um, Andrew Button, we have private equity firms. They are not in the auto business. Correct. They are in the money business. It's about cars. It's about profits. It's about the real estate. Honestly, it's about the freaking real estate that these things sit on. Right. That's really what it comes down to. The businesses, the businesses is just there. Please. Um, Freddie Bebop, did you ever find a solution for the Harley cam bushings? Yeah, I know. I haven't done anything with it yet, but literally yesterday I was over there at that bike gathering all of the parts I need to put the engine together. So I'm not going to do anything else with it. I have to get a couple of. I just need a couple of odds on it, just small things and gaskets and stuff like that to put the motor together. So this week I'm going to order that stuff. When I've got it all in my hands and I have every bit I need to put the engine together, then we'll pick up on that. So soon, very soon. Um, uh, Yui Voigt. I'm sorry. I probably murdered your name. How do you pronounce that? Funny Tone is 66 Olds Dynamic in Germany. Way too big, but they love to see it. I used to sell Mopar parts to a guy in Germany. He was into B bodies, like 68, 70 B bodies, and he bought a lot of stuff from me and paid top dollar for it too. Like I would say, well, what do you think this is worth? And he would like throw ridiculous numbers at me. Um, so make a long story short, I realize he's this very wealthy guy, right? And we're going back, I'm talking to him back and forth, and he says that when he was a kid in Berlin, then all of the pimps drove Mopars. That was their thing. That was it. So if you were in Germany and you were a pimp, like the Superfly of Germany, that's what you had, a Super B or an RT or something along those lines. And so that was a very high status thing at the time. And he was they were restoring those cars now, and he was buying anything I got my hands on that he was interested in. Top of just send it right over. Acceleration rules. Lots of manufacturers use plant-based wiring. Yep, soy wiring. That's why the rodents live to eat the wiring. Back in the late 1980s, Ford was doing that. I'm going to say like it was 88, 89 or so. And that was the first time they were using this biodegradable insulation. Bad, dumb idea. And I was getting cars coming in. Actually, I one of the local Ford dealers, what the hell's the name of the Ford dealer on Richmond Avenue in Staten Island, used to send me cars that they didn't want to deal with. Like they sent it to Tony because I liked doing electrical work. I liked troubleshooting, that sort of thing. At the time, I hate it now, but at the time I enjoyed it. So I would get a lot of work from the dealer and from other shops in the area, and we were getting cars in that were only about 4 or 5 years old that the wiring, the insulation on the wiring had literally just completely disintegrated. And it would happen at weird places, like in the dash harness. Not that anything got to it, not that any rodents ate it or it was exposed to water or anything, but the insulation would literally just disintegrate, and then the wires would start hooking off to each other. So, and I guess they stopped that after a while because our problem kind of went away. But now I'm seeing that they probably reformulated it, and now it's the rodents are just it's not biodegrading on its own, but how the rodents are going in there and eating the harnesses. So yeah, Dean Stevenson, rats loved eating the 85 to 89 F-150 truck wires, banana flavored. Yeah, that was the era. That's when it was. Um, Vampire Bear is saying modern wiring smells like peanut butter. That's why rodents love it. I I haven't smelled any modern wiring harnesses, but uh, Raider Gods. It's very weird that the mayor and governor is a baseball game tonight, and people are celebrating after 3 people dead and 9 injured. Their press conferences were terrible. I have no idea what you're talking about, man. I have no idea which mayor or which basketball game or which event that people got killed. I mean, I'm sorry it happened, obviously, but uh, uh, I was stopped by the police once, asked if I would search for women. They shared the pimp idea. See, that's great. Uh, let's see. Acceleration rules in my neighborhood. The pimp rides with a '75 Buick Deuce and a quarter with wide white walls and curb feelers. Andrew Button, you're right. The private equity firms would probably put flavor in the wiring if they thought it would make them more profits. They might provide the rodents too. You're exactly right, bro. You're exactly right. Um, let's see. Mike Evans, I'm your favorite boomer. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Uh, Raider goes, the Brown shooting. I don't know of any shooting. I've been occupied with like life today. I haven't been paying attention to anything happening in the media, so I have no idea. Um, Joe Commission, my friend sold a '67 Plymouth wagon to Germany. They were crazy for them. Yeah, the Germans like the Mopars. The Swedish are into, or the well, all in the north, um, Sweden and Denmark and all that. They were into the forward look cars. Like they worship Virgil Eisner out there. Um, Self-do. The trouble with keeping one's ride, if it's a 2005 or newer, is the myriad of computers that, if they fail, doom the car because parts are deliberately not available. It's not a car; it's an appliance. Yes, I agree with that. 2005. I don't know about that cutoff. I think that I think it's more 2010, 2015 for most cars. I think 2005, you're still it's where they've got stuff VIN locked. Um, that's where you start to run into the problems. Um, I think early 2000s you're still basically okay where modules or computers or systems that are in there can be relatively easily reproduced or reprogrammed or repaired. It's when you get to the later stuff, 2015, 2020, the current mix of things that are out there. I think that's where you really run into the problems. Um, Wasanda, something interesting. A 71 Plymouth Duster 340 in Bahama yellow on Bring a Trailer with claimed 10,000 miles. That's my favorite color, man. It's one of my favorite colors. It's just beautiful. Um, so, automakers are even suing wrecking yards and old stock distributors that try to sell body modules. Yes, VIN locking is a planned obsolescence move. Absolutely. There's a lot of stuff. So a lot of things cross my path, right? Incidents like the thing with the Hyundai with the freaking with the brake deal. A lot of things cross my path, but I don't want to do a channel that's only based on how the automakers are screwing us. Um, when I find ones that are particularly heinous or weird, where it's like, why, you know what I mean, or it's clear that they're screwing you, then I do that video. But it's just so much and so bad. Uh, but I don't want to make that the focus of the channel. If I did, I can make a lot of money. I tell you, it's ridiculous. Those videos get a lot of views, but I don't want to be that guy. Um, let's see. Joker's one example is the early C5 Corvettes, 97, 98, 99. The ABS brake module is unrepairable. Well, there's a lot of stuff like that. Uh, Raider Gods. I was telling people on the Cars and Bids app, Doug DeMora, uh, and I put in a paragraph about your video and the Ionic 5 brake job that had multiple people try to tell me it's a good thing. I know. That's the thing, right? There's so many people that just drink whatever Kool-Aid comes along. They'll believe any friggin' thing. And if they said, yes, You have to keep people safe. You can't have just anybody doing brake jobs, right? Stuff like that. I know it's ridiculous. Different mentalities. You know what I mean? Different mentalities. Um, Ron Ronald Mills Jr. I mean, you can always go backwards, so to speak, drop in another engine transmission that don't need the computers. The idea is in my head now. Yes, it's easy to so like look at Rich rebuilds and the test and the LS swap Tesla rebuild. Harry did a beautiful job on it. But yes, you can back engineer a drivetrain into any of these cars. No question about it. The problem comes with making everything work within the car. Uh, so to say, oh, I'll just rewire the car so everything is like manual now. I'm going to pick up a universal wiring harness and wire it so that all of the lights and the switches and the blinkers and everything else work, right? But it's so much easier to plug an engine and transmission and even the differential into one of these cars, retrofit it and make it run, than to make the windows, the wipers, the turn signals, the gauges. That's where you run into your problem, right? It's easy to do the mechanical end of it, and it's monumentally ridiculous to do the electronic part of it. So that's the problem with this. But yeah, I mean, you could take any of these cars and retrofit it, with a drivetrain, and then let's say gut the interior and put like regular gauges, analog gauges and analog turn signals and everything else. It's possible, and it can be done, and I'm sure it will be done as time goes forward. Because there's a lot of really nice bodies out there. There's a lot of really nice rollers. So um, I'm just scrolling. I'm scrolling back up here. Um, Andrew Button is saying LS you can use a standalone harness, but others you cannot. Most German cars, for example, it's not operating the motor and the transmission. That can be done standalone, no question about it. It's all of the other stuff that's in the car. Um, Dean Stevenson, his Citroen chassis is kind of not a chassis. It's a festooning core of weirdness. I actually feel that I myself am a festooning core of weirdness. But yes, I identify. Um, let's see. Uh, I'm just scrolling up, guys. Regards, number one automotive podcast two, spreading misinformation. It's a wild spot to be in. Which one are you talking about? I'm scrolling up. Oh, Doug Tomorrow. Those guys are they're in a weird universe, right? I'm not knocking them. I'm not knocking them, but they exist in a different, Doug Tomorrow and Hoovy and all these other people. They, I'm sure they're nice guys and all that, but they exist in a whole different universe than the rest of us do. Um, let's see. Um, Mike N. 2000 Cherokee. It's all dented up, runs good. New tires is worth 2,500. Probably. Is the interior in decent shape? Rust. Um, if, if mechanically it's all there and it's not rusty or anything like that, then it's probably worth 2,500 bucks. I'm scrolling here, guys. Self-do. Another thing to consider in making something like that 65 a daily driver. Brakes. Honestly, those old drum brakes just didn't hack it. Retrofit with front discs and dual master cylinder. Dude, everything I want to say everything I own. If you have a properly assembled, a well-functioning drum brake setup, they function just fine. You run into problems with high-speed repeated stops. If you live in an extremely hilly area, like you're in the mountains and there's a lot of long downhill stretches where you got to maintain like a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, you're always kind of dragging the brakes, then yes, discs are a good upgrade. But if you live in a relatively level area, and you don't make repeated high-speed stops, there is nothing wrong with drum brakes. Joker, Tony, why not just gut a modern car of volts module-driven gadgets, run your own odometer gauges, put in your own radio, wire up the headlights and a simple 12-volt relays and fuses, etc. If you're doing it for yourself, yes, that can be done. Doing it on a broad scale, wait, when I say it can be done, I want you to think about what's involved in having to rewire a car. How much of the interior and the dashboard and whatnot has to be disassembled? You're looking at a huge amount of work. It's not just as simple as, oh, well, here's my universal harness. Let me just stick it in there. No, you're talking about completely disassembling the car and completely rewiring all of it, 100% of it. And a lot of the devices like lighting systems that are currently in the car won't necessarily function with your standalone harness. So you've got to work on all different kinds of solutions to get it done. I'm not saying it can't be done. What I'm saying is that it's a major problem. Okay, it would be more difficult to retrofit a modern car with conventional electronics, analog electronics and whatnot, than it would be to just build a car completely from scratch. It would be much faster and much cheaper to just build the damn car from scratch than retrofit everything and have it function normally. Like when you hit the button, the windows go down. You know what I mean? And you turn the knob and the heater goes on, right? It's huge work. Zero has 268 darts. He's ready for the end of the world twice. So for all practical purposes, any significant modifications to any car, truck built since around 95 is unlawful. You'll never get it road legal. No, it depends on where you live, right? Like for instance, I'm in Tennessee, okay? There is zero inspection here, nothing, okay? Which I think is wrong. There should be some inspection. There should be some safety inspection. Just an annual thing where you run the car through and yeah, it's basically functional, it's basically safe. So, but here in Tennessee, there is And a lot of places, there are no inspections. So yeah, you can build any contraption you want and bring it over there to it'll cost me like $150 to put anything I can dream up on the road. D. Stroud, the four-wheel manual and power drums had plenty of braking power in the cars I have driven in normal driving. I do agree with adding a dual circuit master cylinder though. I mean, my Charger is four-wheel drum. I use that thing. It stops on a freaking four. They're 11-inch drums. It stops, and there's a heavy car. It's a 4,000-pound car, and it just stops. You hit the brakes, it stops. So it all just has to be functioning correctly. Self to hell. I'm moving to the volunteer state. Then no car inspection, no income tax. Yeah, Figmo. I don't know what Figmo means. I'm there this time next year. You and a lot of other people, bro. This state is growing and it's all Californians. We got oh please, it's ridiculous. Some areas like in Franklin, which is 25 miles from here, it's overrun with Californians. It's crazy. Here we're getting a lot of people from Chicago. We're getting a lot of people from New York, New Jersey, which I'm not crazy about. It's like I left those people. I wanted to leave them behind, you know. But yeah, there are some states like Tennessee, which is just like it's a free state. It's literally a free state. As close as you can get. Sweaty fat guy saying I can throw a car together. Excuse me, a pile of steel tubing, and I can get it super legal, super easy in Michigan. Um, Phil Breed, thank you for the super chat. The fun thing about being a young guy working on old cars is fun. Brakes have been squishy for a month. Start bleeding brakes. Still squishy. Dad comes out, spins the tire, and tells me to adjust the brakes. Problem solved. Yes. Yeah, I actually did a video on that. Not too long ago. Maybe it's about 2 years ago. I actually did a video on that about proper adjusting, how to properly adjust drum brakes, because guys who are only used to drums or discs rather don't know about adjusting, you know, the brakes. Boathead, 40 years from today, youngsters today will be restoring their faves and figure out how to outsmart NLA control boxes. I agree with that. I agree with that, and I kind of disagree with it at the same time. I think you're going to have a whole different situation 40 years from now. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. I think automotive sensibilities, not just with young people in general, but I think automotive. So the powers that be, right, that run the world, the real world, whether you want them there or not, and whether you agree with them or don't, it doesn't make any difference. They run the world, and no matter who you vote for, it doesn't make any difference because the people who run the world still run the world. Well, they want the average population out of cars, right? They don't want individual transportation. It's that simple. Now, we can hold them off for a while, which is what I try to do, right? We can hold them off for a while, but eventually they win. Eventually they win. They always have. They always have. They always will. So I think that for the rest of our lifetimes, we'll have cars, we'll have toys, we'll have racing, we'll have all of those things. But 40 years from now, I don't see it. I don't see it. Um, War Ghost, only the rich youngsters in 40 years will be restoring modern cars. Um, Owls in the house, what's happening, Owl? Um, Torino Elite, well said. I've completely rewired a couple of vehicles for other people. I'm not an electrician, but labor-wise, it could be more involved than you think. Absolutely. Not to mention making it look tidy, which is the hard part, making it look tidy. Um, Territory, can we win by converting horses to LS powertrains? I hate to use phrases like this because people have these like they apply different meanings to it, right? Uh, but you're going to have, for lack of a better phrase, I hate to use it, you'll have breakaway civilizations. You'll have breakaway segments of the population, which the powers that be are going to have to allow, because you need people living in the outer areas. You still need the central planners. Okay, food still has to be created. Things still have to be moved, right? Regardless of how they've got the general population locked down, things still need to be processed. Stuff still needs to happen. It's just part of the world. So you'll have situations where you've got little pockets of civilization out in the countries, the countryside, the farming areas, the you get the idea, right? Where things are produced. Well, yeah, you'll have all the freedom in the world. You drive whatever you want, any way you want to drive it, have fun. But for the general population, I don't see it. I don't see it. Frady Bebop. California is currently working on legislation to ban classic cars. It'll never happen. It'll never happen. There are too many people. There are too many people in the California government that have classic cars. That have their a lot of their investments are in classic cars and the classic car industry, and it'll never happen. They can try to ban all they want. They're not going to ban it. Rusty Water, Tony, you should vacation in Stockholm. Check out the 50s, 60s, 70s car scene. Hard to miss when I was there. I know it's huge. Have you seen the Stockholm Open, which is just the craziest street race in the world? It's amazing. And I actually, when I was in the Mopar parts business, I was selling a lot of parts to Sweden as well as Germany. Uh, Tony, they try to ban them all over Europe as well. They may have better luck in Europe. They may have better luck in Europe, but I don't see it here. Okay, so here's just how I see things. Just how I look at things. Okay, um, the worse things get economically, the less effective government becomes. Okay, um, like they can pass all kinds of laws, right? They can pass all kinds of inspection laws, and you know, you can't register this, so you can't do that, right? But the further we go down the line, like for instance, auto insurance. Okay, now here in Tennessee, when they pull you over, they don't even ask for insurance anymore. You'll get occasionally a cop will ask for the insurance, but generally speaking, they don't even ask for insurance anymore. Why? Because there is so many people. There's like 40%, almost half the drivers out here in Tennessee right now have no insurance. Now you can't just cite everybody. You know, you can't fill the courtrooms with everybody. You can't find people that aren't going to pay the fine because they're up against it. And so that law eventually becomes null and void. Like it's just not enforceable. And it's the same thing with any of these other things where they try to ban stuff. The further we go down this economic hole, okay, and it's a global thing. It's not just the United States. It's the Western world, right? It's most of the world. The further we go down that hole economically, the less these laws and restrictions and so on, and bans and so on and so forth make any difference. Eventually, it's just not enforceable. And it's happening. Like it's not that it's going to happen; it's currently happening. Now, I see evidence of it all the time. You know, here's one of the problems. And I was just talking to Kathy about this. Was it Kathy? I was talking to somebody about this. Traffic has gotten completely out of hand. Like we had two traffic fatalities in the city today. One this morning, about a mile from here, and then one this afternoon, about a mile in the other direction. Okay, two traffic fatalities. Now people are crashing shit everywhere all the time. The interstate down here, I-24, is death race 2,000. Death race 3,000 now, right? It's absolutely insane. People are driving like animals, not paying attention, speeding, weaving, it's obscene. And it's gotten so much worse in the last 2 years, 3 years, really since the Rona. And why is this? Well, it's because there's only half the cops on patrol that there were before. When I remember, if you go back, let's say 10 years ago, right, there were cops everywhere in Murfreesboro. We were actually a very cop-heavy area. Any place you looked, there was a cop. But the cops were cool, so it wasn't a big deal. It's not like they were like this oppressive mass of the men in blue, right? No, they were actually very cool, especially if you had an old car or a motorcycle or whatever. They'd wave at you. You know, oh yeah, I took a burnout, right? The cops around here were very cool, so there was no complaints about that. So, but now there's half the cops. There's like a third more population because everybody's moving here, and there's half the cops. You don't see them around. So what good is having laws or regulations if there's nobody to enforce those things? And that's the path that we're on. And that's not going to reverse itself. It's not going to turn around. So it's something to think about. Mopar man insists people would quit driving like slow asses in the left lane. If you want to putz along, stay in the right lane. Yeah, I'm a car guy, right? Tony Hot Rod Nitro guy, right? All right. So listen to me, right? There is no reason on earth anybody should ever exceed the speed limit by 10 miles an hour. It's that simple. Okay. So I see people. I get on this. I do this every day. Every day I see this. Okay. Every freaking day, I get on the interstate. It's 70 miles an hour through here. My shop is 10 miles away. Okay. So every day I get on the interstate, 70 miles an hour. I'm in the right lane at 70 miles an hour. Okay. The middle lane is moving at the speed limit 70. The middle lane is moving at 80, 85. The left lane is over 100. Okay. And they zip around. They will go from the left lane doing 100 freaking miles an hour, cross 4 lanes of traffic to get off an exit, and take the exit at like 75, 80 miles an hour. I see this every freaking day, right? These people should be in prison. This is not something that you should, I mean, literally, okay, if I was a cop and I witnessed these things going on, I, I am going to hit you with every freaking thing I possibly can. It's completely out of hand. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. If I was a cop, if I was setting the laws, 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, I take you to jail. You're gonna go to jail. It's that simple. And there's no reason to have to go 80 freaking miles an hour on the interstate. It's just not. Joe, Joe Comanche, I'll tell you, you're very optimistic. I'm more pessimistic. I'm optimistic for a small portion of the population. Um, I'm extremely pessimistic for the normies. I think the normies are in for a universe of unprecedented levels of bad. Okay, um, oof, really bad. But for our people, okay, and when I say our people, all right, it has nothing to do with religion or race or geography or anything like that. But our people, our little society here, okay, is made up of people who work with their hands, that aren't afraid to take chances, that are industrious. You know, it's part of the car culture. Okay, we think out of the box. We're problem solvers. Like collectively, it's the thing that ties us all together. Whether you know any place in the spectrum of the world of cars that you fit in, you're part of this collective, and I'm extremely optimistic for us. I think we're going to do fine. I think eventually we're all going to have to separate ourselves from the masses, and I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think that's too far in the future either. Um, but I think we're going to do just fine. I'm extremely optimistic. No, I don't think. I know we're going to do just fine. Now, just like the Chinese thing, where they have the same symbol for crisis as for opportunity, right? So yeah, as the world goes into crisis, the opportunities arise, and we're the people who will take those opportunities. So yeah, I no question, we're going to do fine. We're going to do fine. Now the mission now is to get as many people awake and on board as possible, before it happens. Um, Tim Burns, I really think over 500 horsepower should be reclassified as an airplane. Well, it depends how you use it. It depends how you use it. You got 500 horsepower. You don't have to be an asshole with it. Uh, oh, let me see this here. What's on this says silver just eclipsed $69. Okay, let's check the numbers. And we have, woof. Wait, that can't be right. Hang on now. I can't. It's not refreshing for me. Come on. Sorry, guys. Uh, No, it didn't crack 69. We're at 68.71, which is up $1.43 or 2.12%. That's that's strong. Gold 43.81. I believe that's an all-time high. I think we were at 43.79. I think that was a previous all-time high. So right now gold is trading at 43.82, up $28.66. That's pretty impressive. Wow. The futures might be at 69. I don't have the futures. Okay. Ah. Robert Schur, where are you seeing 68.99? That's that's your current that's your current numbers right there. And you're seeing gold at 43.96. Where are you getting these numbers from? Um, Raider gods. Is that weed or just tobacco? I don't smoke weed. I don't do anything. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't, dope or anything like that. Just just tobacco. Um, Let me see here. You notice the sites vary a bit. Are you going by Kitco or I'm scrolling up, dude. Let's see. She's 68.82. All right. Well, I mean the numbers are bouncing around a little bit. Either way, it's high. Okay. Anyway, you look at it, it's high. Um, Max Holler invested in lots of gold, which he securely stores in his mattress here at 1234 A Street, Santa California. Um, Hunter Postlethwaite, you're late. No, you're not. You're just in time. Uh, JM Bullion had silver at just over $69 spot price for a short bit. It's possible. The site that I use there is usually pretty accurate. It's usually pretty accurate. I check it against Kitco when it looks like it's really off, but Kitco just doesn't give you a glance. You know, and Kitco's a little harder to decipher at a glance. And it's usually I'm sitting in a traffic light and I'm like, I wonder what's going on, and I can just hit it real quick and see what it's at. So C. Del Brumley, I don't mess with metals or commodities, just buy and hold Tesla stock. I hope you're joking, right? Um, let's see. Joe here. Cliff High's prediction for silver at 600 is actually a low ball. It could hit the thousands. I I am completely in agreement with the 600 call. Um, and that's if everything maintains its current equilibrium. Yeah, I see 600 before 2030. Um, I see 100. I see 100 this cycle and 100, 95 to 105, like in that range. I see 100 this cycle, a pullback probably to the 70s, probably to where we are right about now. And then I see a run. The next phase is going to be up at 600. But the thing about that now is if you actually look at the charts, if you look at the chart and you look at the inflation adjusted prices from 1980 and then 2011, I believe it was. If you look at the inflation adjusted charts, we're nowhere near. So we're at nominal highs, but we're nowhere near inflation adjusted. But they keep printing more money, which keeps moving it further out. So if you look at a 50-year gold chart, let's just say, or silver chart, you got a ginormous cup and handle, huge. And if you run across the tops and you go to the bottom and you turn it and you flip it, yeah, it puts us in the $300, $350 range. Then you get the inflation on top of that. So yeah, 600 is definitely in the cards. Um, um, no joke, 1,100 shares is already doubled. Yeah, it's a good speculative investment. It's just like I'm in crypto, okay, but I'm only in it because it's a speculative investment and I'm ready to jump out. You see what I'm saying? I don't count on it as you're doing good with your Tesla shares, but I would not count them as money yet. You know what I mean? It's not money until you sell. You don't make profits or losses until you sell. And that's how you look. That's how you look at crypto. Also, I know that crypto is the eventuality is a rug pull. I know this. I knew this when they introduced the concept of crypto, and I was like, oh, this is digital gold. You idiot. Okay, fine. Yeah, it's digital gold. Give me a pile of it, right? So I know that it's a nonsensical thing, just like Tesla is shares of Tesla. Eventually, take your profits and put it in something tangible. You would be better off buying tins of coffee and stockpiling them and calling that money. And I'm not even joking a little bit about this. That's closer to being money than your Tesla shares. Tangible assets. You're looking at a commodity super cycle that's happening right now that'll last the rest of our natural lives. And it's all imbalanced. It's a debasement trade to the dollar. So um, Tony Moparman, question or suggestion: will an LS bolt up to an '85 Buick V8 transmission? Uh, is it actually no? It won't bolt up to the Buick Olds Pontiac. It'll bolt up to the Chevy, but not to the Buick Olds Pontiac. Um, have you thought about a Dodge minivan? Stuff is slant six or more small block in it. Honestly, bro, I'm done building cars. I don't want to build cars anymore. I'll help. I would love to help other people build cars. I love to get involved in other people's projects, but I'm not building anything else. I'm done. I'll be 64 in May. I've built as many things as I ever want to build, but I do love working on stuff, and I do love helping people. So, but I'm not building anything else. Um, Robert Sure, I think that blockchain crypto will be here to stay, but the silly meme coins will disappear. Yes and no. Yes and no. As a utility, yes, absolutely. Um, as an investor, as an investment class, no, I don't see it. But yeah, as a utility, it will always be around. But it's going to be asset backed stable coins that's what the future is of it. Um, Kenny Gerald, can you come to Mopar's at the Rock Car Show Drag Race in the spring, Rockingham, North Carolina? My friend, I don't go any place where I might be recognized. Honestly, I'll sneak into the local. I go to the local tracks and stuff. And I can just blend in with the. But I don't go any place where I might be recognized. Um, War Ghost. Hey Tony, just seen an article that apparently one of I can't say the name. Just because, right? Shell companies paid the salaries of the Bitcoin three main developers in 2015. It's all tied together. All of it is tied together. Uh, I'm scrolling back up here. Uh, where to gods? Have you seen the new C Zigger C21? No, I don't know what that is. The only cool thing to me is the frame is 3D printed and it looks like a human exoskeleton. I'm not familiar with it at all. Um, uh, Kenny, understandably, might get swamped with fans. Yeah, I go through like my regular. Okay, so like it's like when I'm looking at when I'm talking to the camera to make a video, okay, or I'm doing a live or whatever. But this is my job, and I enjoy my job. I love my job. Um, but when I'm not doing this, right? I it's just like if yeah, I if your job is working wherever, you build houses, you're in construction, or you work on an assembly line, or whatever it is that you work, however you work, you're an accountant. It's the same exact thing as I see this job, right? So when I'm not doing this job, I don't want to be doing that job. I want to just be myself and relax. And so that's why I avoid going any place where I might be recognized, because it's like, well, then all of a sudden I'm doing my job again. I don't want to be at work then. I want to be just having fun like anybody else that has you go to a show and you want to go look at the cars, you want to go to swap meet, you want to buy parts, you want to be in your own head and you want to enjoy what's going on, and you don't really want to be working. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's why I avoid any place that I might be recognized. Some people take this YouTube thing like to a whole, like, look at me, and I'm the exact opposite. I'm just like, no, this is what I do. This is my job. Uh, let's see. Um, uh, Joker, but Tony, isn't YouTube? You're constantly working directly on. Yes, yeah. Your head is always in the making of content. It's like, okay, well, I have this idea. Now, how do I turn this idea into like a video? You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh my God. And yeah, you spend I, the last thing you're thinking about when you're going to sleep is content. The first thing you think of when you wake up is content. Everything that you observe through the course of the day is potential content, and you'll have to filter it all out. Is this good? Is this going to get views? Is this not going to get views? Is this repetitive? Is this, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, your head is always in this thing. And this is going to be, I'm starting my 8th year of doing it, which is like, ah. Uh, Tony, someday I'd like to see you do a show about old farts like us dealing with semi-retirement. I'm going to hang them up this time next year. What to do with myself? Retirement is death. Right? It's that simple. It's that simple. Just substitute the word retirement for death. All right. When you're no longer productive, when you no longer have a challenge, when you no longer have goals, you know what I mean? Well, that's when it's over. Just do the world a favor. If you want to retire, just do the world a favor and just go off to an island by yourself. You know what I'm saying? And does that make any sense? Retirement is death. Retirement is death. And the body knows that. When the body knows, when you no longer have a challenge, when you no longer have a goal, when you no longer have something to protect, something to achieve, something to, a mark to make, whatever it happens to be, when you no longer have that, your body knows it and starts shutting down. I look at people my age. I'm 63. I'm going to be 64, right? I look at people my age, and they're retired. They're destroyed. They're destroyed. That old age hits them all at once. You watch somebody retire, they look all okay and stuff, and you see them like 2 years later, 3 years later, and they're hunched over and they're all like, right. Retirement is death. Period. The end. Find new challenges. Find new challenges. Always find challenges. That is the meaning of life. Uh, Josh Holman, not just physically active, but mentally active. Some people can't be physically active for whatever reason. That doesn't mean you can't be mentally active. Got to keep it going. You got to always try to learn new things, always try to develop new skills. Always, and some of it can be very altruistic. I mean, your mission could be just to help homeless people, help dogs, help something. You know what I'm saying? As long as there's that mission, the body says, oh, it's important to keep this organism alive because it has something to do, so it has something to accomplish. So don't take my word for it. Just look at the landscape. Uh, yes, or as Dean Stevens says, speaking an unknown language and only eating raw beans. I mean, yes. Sweaty fat guy. I've been retired since 2005. I was 36 years old. I have to stay active or everything hurts. Yeah. Jimmy Foradell. Retirement is death. I agree. I am semi-retired and already feel a physical deterioration. Yes, I know. I know. Right? Go find a mission. Go find something that's like you have to accomplish. Right? Whatever it happens to be. I don't know. Right? Because everybody's life is a little bit different. But go find something that's bigger than you and go attack it. Robert Trio, I'm retired at 55 at least for now. Luckily, I'm financially independent and don't need to go back to work. It's not death. You're only 55, bro. You're only 55, right? You're taking a break, and it's okay to take a break. Nothing wrong with taking a break. So if you want to take a year, 2 years, 3 years, and just like, oh, I'm just going to play golf. I'm just going to go travel. I'm just going to collect stamps, whatever it happens to be. It's okay to take a few-year break, couple of few-year break, especially at your age. But if you don't get back on some horse at some point, you're going to get to 65, 66, 60, and it's going to be one failure after another. The muscles shut down, the brain starts shutting down, everything starts shutting down. Don't take my word for it, bro. Boathead, find new challenge in retirement. Not something you did before. You can still mess with the old. Yeah. I mean, I still mess around with stuff that I was messing around when I was 16 years old. Like I'm the eternal teenager when it comes to these Mopars and stuff, right? But yeah, I'm always learning new things. I'm always trying to like, um, I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to expand my mind a little bit. And some of it is learning about the mind itself, consciousness. But that's a whole different. Uh, Ford, CD Burlock, Tony, go see new videos at Edison Motors. Very important. I'm not knocking him. I'm not saying, but the guy at Edison Motors clearly been watching my videos because he parrots things that I've said. Not to say anything wrong with that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's fine. But yeah, I watched a couple of videos, and he's clearly watching my videos. And I like those guys. I honestly do. I think I think they're yeah. I'm not saying anything bad about them at all. Zero. Just want to say Merry Christmas to everyone in case you don't watch the Wednesday night tech live stream. Yes, we will definitely be on Wednesday night. I don't know if Dr. Art's going to be on, but I'm definitely going to be on. But yes, Merry Christmas, Zero, and my best to all of your family and friends. Uh, Grant Bobby, I retired my dad 10 years ago at 55, and he got to be a full-time grandpa musician. Well, there you go. If the musician thing is perfect because that is the challenge. He's always trying to perfect. You see what I'm saying? That's good. The performing, the nervousness, right, that comes with a performance of some sort is good. That's the positive stress that your body needs. So yeah, that's excellent. Um, acceleration rules. Years ago, the news had a story saying everyone would have their own TV channel. I laughed like hell. Right? I know. It's the craziest thing in the world to me. I well, you get used to it after a while, but you flip along the TV, and it's like, well, there I am. Flip some more, oh, there I am again. It's the weirdest freaking thing. Uh, all right, guys. Okay, we're at the 2 hour mark, and I am going to call it a night. Um, so do we? I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. Uh, Dr. Art put up a video today about the his the El Caminos, so go check that out. Um, our awesome mods. Um, oh, Paul, I didn't even see you there. How you doing, brother? Uh, our awesome mods. Zero Mexican Spec. I don't think Fubar was around tonight, but he's always around in spirit. Thank you guys, as always. Everybody contribute super chat, and it's never expected but always appreciated. Everybody who contributed with your presence and your conversation and your thumbs up, that's also equally thank you. Try to hit the thumbs up on the way out. Um, I have no idea what else is going on this week. So, but I will be on. I will be on Wednesday. So, if you don't have anything going on, come join us over here. And I don't know if Dr. Art is. I don't know. We'll see. He may be on, or he may not. But at any rate, that's it, guys. I am going to pull the plug now. Thank you all so much for clicking and sharing time with me tonight. And see you later. See you tomorrow.